even though we could infiltrate into the ground here with our stormwater runoff, in terms of earthwork and moving dirt around on the site, there was a specific required cap here. So the amount of clean material for this site to be used by the public was very specific and negotiated with DEM and the environmental engineer. So what that was basically 2 feet of clean material or 1 foot of clean material in a geotextile fabric or paved surface. So that's basically all the material underneath could be left in place, but we had to scrape the material off in order to replace it with clean material to put in the pavement sections and the landscape material that you see here. So what that meant is every cubic yard of material that left the site was very expensive. It was not ordinary dirt. So we did everything we could, and again, back to Klopfer Martin, in terms of designing the space with an aesthetic and a real engineering function. All of these landmass pieces are serving to kind of create a space, but they're also engineered so that they could keep a whole bunch of material underneath those. So that area, there's a large berm in the back of the site that are basically serving to reduce the site cost by capping and keeping contaminated material on site. So that's pretty cool. They're serving multiple purposes. One note about, it's kind of operation and maintenance, kind of design, kind of contractor nerdiness, but it took us a long time to get a lot of the green infrastructure established on the site here, because as you build it, the vegetation hasn't quite taken hold yet, and you get a rainstorm, and that can serve to really wreak havoc on these systems. So I was running out here with Drake Patton multiple times a week for the summer when we were getting this established. I think we learned some lessons that some of the more advanced erosion control materials, matting, maybe different strategies onto when planting happened would have helped. And this was a perfect example that this is a 2-tiered bioretention system. You can't see it because the planting is so lush, which is great, part of the point. But every time that it rained, when this system was getting established, you can see those cuts in the curb serve to take the stormwater runoff and put it where it's supposed to go. But at those points, we had a bunch of stone, but it was really getting eroded. And a couple other things that happened. You can see another cut in the curb down kind of behind that Honda. So this system has kind of a dam, so that fills up and it overflows to the next. You can't see it, again, kind of the point. But it took a while to get established. Once the vegetation took hold, good to go. So maybe we take a little walk, because I think the movie room is such a cool spot. Not really green infrastructure.
So a quick question,
Yeah.
Have you found phytoremediation using the plants to uptake contaminants as successful, or do you do the monitoring that would confirm that?
Yeah, Holly, that's such a missing piece right now. Yeah, where it has been done, we found it to be very much effective in that, and that's part of what the removal efficiencies for these systems are based on. But most of our sites, we just don't have the budget to stay and do it.
Tuckett Street Landing, we did a combine of phytoremediation with the stormwater there in Pawtucket. So the trees there, and there's a nice education board on that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's working as it's
This is a primary metals site for contamination, so it wasn't pHs or organics that were really concerned as much on this site.
Good, thanks.
Could you say a little bit about snow and ice on the different pavement types?
Sure. So a lot of the research that's been done, and we've seen it, that with permeable, well, we should start with, say, a typical bituminous system. This is looking pretty good, but as it cracks and kind of water gets in there and finds its way into the base and then freezes, that's the freeze thaw, especially in New England, Providence, is what causes a lot of those problems in the winter in terms of breaking that pavement up. It's designed to be impervious, so as soon as it starts failing, we have problems. But here, where it's designed to be pervious and let that run off through, especially to have a good base below. So this isn't just put down on a typical road base. There's a stone reservoir below, there's filtering that happens, so it's designed to let that water through. So it's down below before it has a chance to cause problems near the surface. And the other cool thing about that is the water and runoff freezing on the surface here. It's, again, designed to stay on the surface, so when snow falls and we get a little melt, when it rains and then flash freezes, it's not going anywhere, so it's freezing on the surface and causing ice and causing slip and fall problems. Whereas here, it's going down before it has a chance to do that. So that's kind of been put forth as one of the big benefits, and you translate that into, well, if that's true, then you shouldn't have to put as much sand and salt down on those if they're really not icing up as much as they would have. So some of the data, and it's really dependent on shade as well. So here there's a lot more sun, so you could make that case. Whereas if you had a more shaded site, that might still be icing up. So that the two primary benefits, not having as much damage due to freeze thaw, and also in theory shouldn't have to put as much sand, salt on it. That's not to say that DOTs out there and municipalities and site owners aren't doing it anyway. That I should say, a big thing that we try to put on all our sites is educational signage. This is what it is, at least to understand that it's different. Fire retention, permeable pavement, so that over the years, and the steel yard knows what they're dealing with, they're doing an amazing job, but on some sites, not understanding can lead to maintenance problems or just getting rid of it altogether. I feel like we should just take a quick look at one of the